Ozzie Jurock joins us now. And Ozzie, you're talking today about the fact that this is not the first time, this $700 billion deal that they're trying to do to get rid of all the bad debt. It's not the first time this has happened.
Yes, in 1984, the Continental Illinois Bank, which was the largest bankruptcy then, resulted in the failures of the saving and loan banks. In fact, some 747 banks crashed between 1988 and 1994. The government said, okay, what we're going to do, we're going to create a Resolution Trust Corporation, which will buy all those bad non-core assets and mortgages and housing and everything else, and force the bank to get rid of them. And then within a 3 to 4 year period, since the government controlled the sale of it all these banks became clean. They were lending back to each other. And in fact, the chairman of the Resolution Trust Company said that the banking problem of the 80s and 90s come primarily from unsound real estate lending. Sound familiar?
It certainly does.
We have a similar situation, only the zeros are bigger. The total value then was $300 billion. Now they're talking $700 billion. And in my view, what it means is that we're creating that money out of thin air. The U.S. now has $10 trillion in debts. It's unbelievable money. But what it means is that all that money that's being created out of thin air is going to compete with the money that you and I earn and will drive hard assets like real estate likely much higher in the future. But first, we've got to clean out all those non-core assets. The real estate market has to go through the valley in the United States and in parts of Canada. But in my view, 10 years from now, we're going to be higher yet. The reason why we went from 13,000 to 800,000 is precisely that. We created always more money results in hard assets being higher eventually.
Ozzie, I just want to make sure I understand you. What do you mean by 13,000 to 800,000? What are you talking about?
The average house in Vancouver was 13,000, and now it's 800,000. I paid 13,000 for my house. It was 70 years old then in 1968, and now it's worth 800,000 on the east side. What has changed? The only thing that's changed is the debasement of money through increased inflation.
And so what you're saying is that all that money that the government is basically printing is going to compete with what we really have, which is our houses.
Yeah, which what we earn. You and I earn X amount of money, and the government comes out, oh, here's a whole bunch of money. We're losing a war we're fighting in Iraq, all of the different things that, but we don't get the money through taxes, we just print it. We create it through the bond market, but it's a similar effect. Milton Friedman says that inflation is primarily a monetary phenomenon. And that's what I've been writing in my newsletter for some 16 years, and I'm not surprised that we've seen the higher prices. We will go through a valley in Canada and in Vancouver too, because all the bad news will affect us.
Okay, briefly, Ozzie, what do you mean by that? When you say a valley, do you mean prices actually going down?
We're already seeing lower prices right across the country, more listings, and that's a market. Markets become the stories people tell about them. The stories right now are all negative.
Okay, Ozzie, well, I guess we just have to wait and see what's going to happen, don't we?
Well, one thing we can do, of course, you can all join me in October. We have a Real Estate Outlook conference at the Renaissance Hotel where we make it all clear.
Oh, a little plug there, eh, Ozzie?
Little plug, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ozzie has a website, Jurock.com, or you can call him at 604-683-1111.